Welcome back, folks. 877-927-6648. Let's go over to our man, Mr. Bob Archer. You've heard Bob many times right here at TFNN, folks. Bob is the president and CEO of Great Panther Silver, trades in Toronto as GPR, trades in the U.S. as GPL. Bob Archer, welcome back to TFNN.
Hi, Tom. How you doing? Always good to be back.
It's a beautiful thing, man. So, bottom line, we know that you're doing a lot of business right now in Mexico. You got some potential in Peru. So can you kind of give us an update of what we have happening?
Yeah, sure. Well, things are going well in Mexico. As some of your listeners may recall, we suspended milling operations at our smaller Topia mine for about 4 months to complete some plant upgrades and a switch over to a new tailings storage facility. But we kept mining through that period, and we're just commissioning the new plant right now, and hope to be back at full operations there within the next few weeks. So that once we get back up running there, we'll be processing all the ore that was stockpiled for those 4 months because we kept mining through that period, and the plan is to catch up through the balance of the year. So our guidance remains the same for the year, as at about 4 to 4.1 million silver equivalent ounces from all of our operations in Mexico, and looking forward to getting back up and going at Topia.
Nice. Well, what was interesting, too, is that right before you came on, Bob, Newmont Mining just come out with numbers. And now, in the large producers, Newmont, to me, has been kind of weak. And I was happy that they not only, they come out with their bottom number really well. And the price is holding, meaning even after the close. Okay, so it's kind of interesting, man. Because there's no doubt we've had some heavy volatility in this marketplace.
Oh, that's for sure. And it's a little bit strange too, Tom. I find, we've seen a slide in the valuations of most of the mining companies, most of the producers, since I'd say late February.
Yes.
And but during that time, metal prices have come off a bit and then come back up. And but when they did come back up, the mining stocks didn't really reflect that. So we've seen a bit of a divergence between metal prices and market sentiment as it relates to share prices. Well, so we've been caught up in that, and we're trading at about 35% lower than we were in early February for absolutely no reason at all. There's been no fundamental change in the company.
Yeah, and
it's purely market sentiment.
No, there's no doubt. And when you take a look at it, folks, Bob, the GPL had made it all the way up to 228 again on the 24th, and that was testing the 228 from last April. It was interesting last night, Bob. Of course, last night, I'm sure most of the world, anyone that's in the metals business anyway, or just the market in general, was waiting for where that election was going to come out. And I thought was so intriguing, even all day, is that the dollar was destroyed. The dollar is going after its lows, and yet they got gold down, they got silver down, but guess what? Gold only ended up being down $11. Silver came all the way back to positive. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was interesting how the futures markets reacted to that. I mean, both gold and silver were smacked down right on the open.
Yes.
But as you say, they rebounded quite nicely, and I think it could be that because the euro reacted so strongly as a result of the elections in France, that a lot of people were expecting perhaps the dollar to be a lot lower, and but it wasn't. It didn't go down so much with regards to the rest of the currencies, to the yen and so on. So it's a bit of a mixed bag in the currency markets, but certainly European equities were strong in reaction to the election, and so people generally were feeling good, and so the traditional flight to safety where we see gold rising was kind of the opposite this morning. It was almost like a flight from safety.
It's been amazing. This gold silver trade. It's been a hard trade to stay in for a long period of time? Meaning, let's just say the last 4 or 5 months, but it's still there. It's like I said to the audience this morning. It was really interesting. Like gold was down last night, and I bought it anyway. Do you know what I mean? It was like, well, because the divergence in the dollar was so dramatic. It just really was. Yeah. And then it came back, and of course, that's great when it does come back. So, I know that you've been working like wildfire, and I know when I talked to you before on the air, it's amazing to me, CEOs in general, how many places you have to go, how long you have to work. Talk to me about, I know that you plan on retiring from a CEO in this year. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. This is something that I've been talking to the board about for roughly 6 months or so. Okay. And it was largely a question of timing. And you could sort of step back and say, well, there's always a time when the entrepreneur, the startup guy, has to to step aside, and it just makes sense for someone else to come in and sort of pass on the baton. And I mean that's part of it. And just looking at the time to do that, we're at a point in our growth where I've taken the company from startup in 2004 to to where we are now, where the operations are more or less running at capacity. Yes. So it's all been our organic growth to this point, and we've initiated the next phase of growth, which is really inorganic through acquisition, with the acquisition of the Coricancha mine in Peru. Okay. And we're well capitalized now. We've got about 55 million in cash and short-term investments. So we're in a strong financial position, no debt, and we want to keep growing by acquisition. And so, in a sense, we're entering a new phase of growth for the company. Yes. And when we talked about it, I could keep going for a few years and then bring someone in to take over at some point. But it almost makes more sense for us to bring someone else in now, almost at the ground floor of this next phase, and that way they would have more of a vested interest, more ownership in this next phase. Nice. And really drive the company forward through this phase of where we want to get to of about 10 million ounces of annual production, and to be a mid-tier producer, from the 4 million that we're at now. So, we think that Coricancha can take us from 4 till 7, but to get to 10 or beyond is going to require at least another acquisition. And to that end, I've just hired a vice president of corporate development, Sam Ma, and we're really going to be focused on M&A activity going forward. So, listen. So it just seems like a natural time, Tom.
I want to be one of the first ones to congratulate you, because I was worried when I heard it, and then. Folks, you get a picture. I'm trying to get hold of him, and you're flying all over the world with all the mines. I said, okay, this is good. I know it's good, but I want to know what it is.
No, it's all good, Tom.
It is. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on. Look forward to having you again, Bob. Have a great one. Have a safe one.
Thanks, Tom. You too. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye. You stay right there, folks. We'll be coming right back. Our phone number is 877-927-6648. I'll be right back, folks.